You are listening to Alon Lee and Shobi Nati on the Crude Effect Podcast. Yeah! Hello and welcome to the Crude Effect Podcast. I am your host, Shobi Nati, alongside my co-host, Alon Lee.
Yes, sir.
This is where confrontation meets conversation, and today we are going to discuss a little confrontational situation, or at least the way I see it. We're in Chicago, Illinois, and I've always wanted to talk about this particular subject with our youth because I see them out here a lot, and they're like 17, probably some high school kids, maybe just getting out of high school, and even in winter, summer, whatever. And I'm not knocking the hustle, but I've seen our youth out here with these buckets, you know, drumming these buckets, and some of them are really, really talented. And I don't understand why they're out here having their hands out when they could be somewhere working or trying to work. I want to know what that's really about. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be this killer of the youth, but I just want to raise this point because I think it's very, very important that we talk about this, because I've seen this for a while, for some years. I'm sure you've seen it yourself.
Absolutely.
And I'm concerned about it. That's why I'm bringing it up. So,
I'm totally down, but let them know where they can find us at first.
Well, first you can find me, Shobi on Facebook at Shobi and on Twitter at C9T, and Instagram at C9T3130.
And you can find me on Facebook at Al Lee, Instagram A Lee for Life, and Twitter A Lee 211996. What do you want to talk about? What your theories are? I mean, yeah, because you had some really insightful theories about that, and also talk about the experience that you just recently saw and where, because I think the area is very important as well.
Actually, this morning, I was around Irving Park and Cicero, that area, and I saw like 3 or 4 African-American young males. Like I said, they look young, high school. I know they're after school, but I've seen this quite frequently.
Oh, yeah, and during the school year.
Yeah, in the city while school is going on and everything. Summertime, they're out of school, whatever, but I'm seeing our youth, our young men, sometimes there's a couple of girls with them. They're out with these buckets on the corner, the south side, west side.
Yeah, whatever.
Northwest, whatever, and they're beating on these pails, really tight drumming skills, so you can hear the rhythms, you can hear that talent. I've seen them perform around a lot of festivals like Lollapalooza and downtown in the summertime, and they're bucket outside, and they look like they're very stylish, dreads, neatly done, and nice-looking kids, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, let me put this together. Okay, they seem like they're not really hurting for nothing. I'm not saying they're not poor or anything, but they keep themselves together. They look healthy. What's going on? Why are they out here, especially during school, beating on pails and got their hands out?
Right.
And I just want to get your perspective on it because I see this as an issue, brother. Why aren't you working?
Why
aren't you what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough because for some of them I think are, a lot of performance artists are taught, to go out here and, perform, and just make your performance or whatever and go from there. So some of them I'll take a small percentage. And still do that. But some of these guys who perform artists do have jobs. But, like you see them in the subway playing their guitar or whatever, and they do have jobs. Some of them, just don't. In particular for our youth, though.
Once again, I'm not judging
no one's
the
judging.
situation, but this is something that I've wanted to
But
discuss.
with the drummer thing, it's a little different to me because I'm not necessarily thinking that they're trying to be discovered. Some of like I said, some of these perform artists like you see in New York or, LA or even here in the subway, they're trying to maybe get discovered. They're just trying to play the music, trying to, get feedback from a live audience. Maybe they're trying to get over that. I don't know how to play in front of an audience.
Yeah, I don't think
these kids are not.
Yeah.
Because part of it is, and just putting my educator hat on, part of it is that we are cutting a lot of programs, and some of the 2 first programs that we cut out of school are arts programs and physical education. Those are the first 2.
That's true.
So these kids aren't having an opportunity necessarily to perform in school, first of all. And then from there, school will help you, because my grandfather, I can speak from experience, school will help you organize the
structure.
Not even the structure, but who maybe I can form a band or get bandmates with.
Exactly. I agree.
And so then from there,
you
get a band, and then there you start learning how to become a group, and then maybe you can go out there and charge. And from there, so the lack of organization from an art standpoint is 1. 2, the lack of leadership in that home, because, and it's not just men or a woman, no matter where you're coming from, single parent home, wherever, that parent should be should be in tune enough to know that if you're out there performing, that you have too much time on your hands. You know, and I'm talking about just performing with the pail.
Right.
That you have too much time on your hands, and either A, we need to get you in some type of performance art type thing, or we need to get you a job because you have too much time that should be sitting on the corner.
That has to have a balance. Even if you have access to that type of environment, you still should have some type of job to learn how to earn for yourself.
Right, or not even just a job, a class, whatever. Because like you said, if they're in high school or whatever, if they're coming out of high school, then they definitely should have some kind of job. You know, they shouldn't be on the corner. But like I said, and we're just assuming.
Doesn't have to be full-time,
part-time something.
Yeah.
And we're just assuming. But yeah, I've seen it a lot within, like you said, the last couple of years. It has been around a lot. You know, and like I said, just coming from an educator standpoint, I see a lot of these youth trying to get jobs, and they just can't get hired. Some of it is because they don't have the resume. They don't know how to put together a resume. They don't have interview skills. So it's just a combination of a lot of things within our youth. And so this is why I've always said a part of what needs to happen, you know, obviously in the state, but federally, but just in the state in particular, is there should be any budget that's passed, there has to be a reinvestment in job training.
Yep.
There just has to be, because every child, and we've talked about this, every child is not meant to go to college.
That's true.
They're just not.
Yep.
And it's not so much they don't have the mental capacity. It's just that's just maybe not for them.
Exactly.
And they're ready to go to work. They're ready to become a functioning part of society. And they're ready to get out here. And they want to be hands-on. Carpentry, electrician, whatever, plumbing. So they're ready to get their mechanic. They're ready to get their hands out here and work. So that reinvestment into making sure that our youth know that they have a job. So that way, if they do want to perform, let's say they want to do the bucket on the corner, that at least we know they got a part-time or full-time to fall on, that they got some income. And if they want to take a couple hours out of their day to go hit out there on the corner, that's on them. But at least they're being a functionable person in society.
Well, I want to lean on that general statement more so than saying they're lazy and they just want to smoke weed and you know just hang out all the time. But
and some of them do.
But that's why there is a percentage that just wants to do that. They've had opportunities. They've had the parents. They've had the mentorship. They say, man, you need to go get a job. They just don't want to work.
Or maybe some of them don't have that leadership and they're just like, I'm just comfortable just sitting here.
Exactly.
Because there's nothing pushing them. That parental figure, they're babying it. There's so many of us from that age of whatever, the 60s, 70s, and 80s parents that raised us, that there's so many of us that felt like they were so hard or they, were mean or didn't communicate or whatever, that we always said with our kids, we're going to make it so much better when we have kids and they're not going to go through this, which to a certain extent is true. Like we were talking about the spanking and all that in evolution. However, with that evolution comes a certain softening because now they're not seeing certain hard times. And so like, for instance, like maybe you, and I'm over exaggerating, but maybe you didn't get that pony, young ladies, for the holidays. But now you made sure that your daughter or son got that pony or that horse. And now what are they striving for?
Exactly.
We've left them with nothing to strive for. And so that's a part of it. Is it's not so much like they're just out there drumming because they don't have nothing to strive for. They're out there drumming because they know there's a safety net. Some of them. They know that, okay, well, I can just hang out here because I can always go home.
Or they don't have or haven't been taught a certain drive in life. Like you say, in African-American community, we've been short-sighted for so long with influences and resources that no one is taking time for the most part because that generation before probably didn't have the resources also or didn't know how to tap into those resources. So that's leading a blind generation after generation. It's only a select few that have those parents in the hood. Just push their kids and kept them away from a lot of things. But
also it's a generational thing too, because generationally we were learning to sacrifice for the next generation, and that has stopped. It started becoming more about live for the now, live for the moment, enjoy it all now. That's a good thing. Enjoy every moment, enjoy life. But it doesn't mean that
there's another side
that you don't leave something for the next generation.
Right.
So and that's where we got caught up in all of that nonsense. So it is generational. It is about teaching that you have to leave something behind. If you have a concept of you have something to leave behind, then you first have to get something to leave behind.
And also we talked about that, how some generational parents who were fortunate enough to start their own business and blow up to be very great out here or, do some really strong things, had that tutelage to become great entrepreneurs and built some things in their lineage. They leave their children all this money, but they don't teach them to go out and get their own
Right.
instead of just sitting. That's why you see a lot of parents. We've seen this throughout our lives. We grew up with some of them. The kids who were well-to-do or had parents that were very, very wealthy, they would have a subpar life because they're waiting on mommy and daddy to die.
No
And,
purpose.
No purpose. It's like, man, I'm good. I got money waiting on
And
me.
as I said,
This is why I said it was so important for parents who have those opportunities and put the children in those profitable positions. You have to tell them, this is my money.
Yeah.
I'm going to teach you to go out and fend for your own.
And that's what we need to be teaching.
You
ours.
leave them something,
Yeah.
but you don't tell them.
And
But it's just
and it's not even just if you have money. If you just have,
But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I mean, we related to what we were talking about with the kids
Yeah.
drumming. Same thing. Even if you have a parent that is putting a roof over your head and making sure that you are okay, you don't take it for granted. You know, and I've said this, and I will
But
continue
that's
to say it.
partially on the parents because
I completely agree.
Because like you just said before,
Yeah.
you said that parent lacked having so much, so when they get, they
were
just
like,
shower
yep.
their children
and
and
that
spoil
child
them.
feels like, oh well, I don't have to do much.
Exactly.
And so that's what I'm saying. So you're absolutely right. It's on that parent. So like I said, it goes back to the principle. We'll continue to say it till I drop dead. At 18 to 21, you have one of four options: military, trade school, get a job,
College.
or go to college. It's one of four.
Yep.
There's no getting around it.
Nope.
There's no playing with
You're
it.
fooling
and
yourself.
And if we and but
You're fooling
we and,
yourself.
and if we don't implement it in our culture, you're going to see more drummer boys and drummer girls.
Ice Cube, he came out with his newer song
And does he have a new album or a new song for sure?
Song album. I know
Yeah.
the song is on YouTube. Some funkadelic.
The new
song,
funkadelic.
The new funk. I love Ice Cube.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He's matured into a great young man. His story is phenomenal. You know, coming from the group NWA, you know, very popular group, very pro-black group at the time when they were youthful, watching their way. And, you know, I wasn't a overly aggressive type guy when it comes to the verbiage, but they were part of my generation, and I'll never forget them, and I'll always be grateful for them because they stood up for a lot of awesome things. They were a very
Police
vocal
brutality,
group.
yeah. Free speech.
And the government, I think, kind of shut them down at times or tried many a times. I think that was part of why they subsided because they had the governmental pressure. Chuck D and Public Enemy, KRS-One to a certain extent, they kind of snuffed them out. But I want to touch on this Ice Cube new song. You know, he's another stratosphere as far as entertainment now. He's become this great director, producer, put out some quality movies, man.
Yeah.
You know, since Friday, I mean, every movie he's put out, I am a fan. I make sure I go and support because he has a lot of lessons and really good content in his movies.
He's one of the founding members of that Big Three, the basketball.
Yeah, who else is
Him and it was him and
it's another
Allen Iverson.
basketball. Yeah, and that's another entrepreneurial feat. And so I heard this song, this new funk song, and you know,
Just
I
give
was
us
like,
a little taste of some of the lyrics.
I was like, yeah, let me listen to Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying? He got some cute song. You know what I'm saying? Funk. He was always a funkadelic type
And it
guy.
has a George Clinton feel.
Yeah,
the
George
beats,
Clinton
the beats,
feel.
very funky, funkadelic, definitely for sure. But
he started sounding like the old Ice Cube.
I don't
Which
even know
is-
if it was that. It was
Man,
more.
it was kind of that raunchy mouth. Yeah, that was old Ice Cube. Which is it's you know, that's his choice.
Right.
Like I say, I'm not judging the guy. I love him. But I'm like, when you all get a chance to listen to it, you be like, you know, some people going to disagree. It's just Ice Cube. You're taking this too seriously. I'm not really taking it that seriously, but I am going to speak upon this. I'm like, dude, you're in another stratosphere of respect. Not just I'm saying about white people, just African Americans put you on a different scale than the NWA guy right now. And it's like you reverted back. I'm just trying to get your opinion since it's just me and you. What do you think his agenda was of making that song? Because it's really, I can't say the lyrics, you know what I'm saying, that he was saying, but you know what I'm saying, he's using profanity, reliving like he was in his teenage years.
I didn't even get that feel. I got the feel of it was
it's like, what is the agenda here?
See, I get the feel of it was bubblegummy rap. I wouldn't even like him at NWA. It was more bubblegummy club. It was more like when he had was with Mac 10 and them. It was more like that when he was on the tail end of his career with the West Side Connection and all that, and he was doing all that, you know, goofity, hippity, hoppity, goofy kind of Bojangles music. I mean, it just was. I mean, you know, he's crib walking, throwing up the W, and I get it. And I get it, your West Side and all that. I'm not tripping on that. But this
the agenda,
this particular move here,
what?
The way that it struck me when you brought it to me, first of all, you know, listen to it. It was funny because, you know, I do like funkadelic music. So I just listened to it. I was like, oh, this is funky. But then listen to the content. I was like, wow. I was like, this is very, like, corny, to be honest. And not disrespectful, but because for him, this is
looking at Ice Cube
this
now.
is me showing Ice Cube respect because not even just looking at him now, but looking
it's the
at
growth.
his growth and everything that he's talked about, and then to hear this,
like
and,
what is he on?
And I'm thinking like, okay, maybe this is a movie soundtrack, and like I said, when we finally talked about it pre-show, I just told you like, I think this is just his way of still having to feel relevant. Everybody can't do this forever. You used the example of the other day of Michael Jackson.
Right.
He was the greatest for a certain amount of time. Right. He'll always be the greatest, but in that particular block was his time. Same thing with Whitney Houston. And then someone else comes along and
Michael, Whitney, even Ice Cube, the greats.
All of them.
God has given you a special grace period.
Yeah.
I don't care how great you are. When your grace for you to be that person
that bright star
has passed.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, you're never going to
be at that level. And it doesn't mean that you're not a star.
And I think a lot of stars struggle with that.
And I was about to say,
I think Whitney struggled with that. Michael definitely struggled with that.
Michael definitely struggled. And like I said, and it doesn't mean that you're not a star.
No.
You're just not that nova, that supernova.
That's the beauty of that man upstairs. Yeah. Everyone has their time.
Yes.
You have to move over and allow others.
Everybody
and this is why Trey Songz, I remember, had an issue with R. Kelly. Because R. Kelly stays on time. I mean, he's just an evolving artist. And his music was relevant still, even today. Right. And Trey, like, man, you had your time. Right. Can you kind of allow us to, and it's not his fault. He's just talented like that.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because just because there's a certain time doesn't mean that when someone else is ready for that time to be over, it's over.
Right.
And the example I was going to say in particular with this, and
athletes,
anybody,
same thing.
Everybody can't.
Tom Brady,
everybody,
we're seeing it now.
But everybody can't do Tom. But the example I was going to use in this particular example, Cube is looking at guys like Snoop. Mm-hmm. Now Snoop is still not that supernova, but he's still able to rap and still be somewhat relevant.
But even if you listen to him,
he's
evolved with his music.
But Cube has not understanding that obvious to me because listen to the content.
Right.
And so he's obviously just thinking, oh, well, Snoop's still out here, or guys of his ilk are out here, so I should still be able, not understanding and listening like, Snoop's not calling everybody bees and hoes anymore.
Right.
He's, actually talking about or storytelling.
Exactly.
And so, Q, if you're not able to do that, maybe you just might want to just chill or keep that in the studio. And
the last two albums Jaden put out.
They don't super like put it. And like I said, he didn't super put this out here. But the point is that if you're going to put something out here and you're on that level, at least make it something of value. I remember when Prince, God rest his soul, his last few albums, not really super publicized, but he was putting out good content. Mm-hmm. And so that's all an artist, if you really care, wants to do. Sade's about to come out. I promise you that content's going to be solid. Well, Anita Baker.
I mean, but her aura. But Anita Baker's aura.
All of them.
It's like long lasting.
And Cube has that ability too, but he's chosen not to.
Not really as far as music. Not Cube.
I'm just saying he's had an opportunity to.
I don't think so, because rap has its
seasons. If he chose to evolve,
especially the rap that he was saying.
Right, but if he chose to go more intellectual like he started doing.
But that's not him.
It was for a certain time.
It's not him. No one knows Cube as that.
Yeah, well, that's
so
true.
I'm saying this is why you have to be careful. And I believe, to a certain extent, I hope I'm wrong, that he's not hurting his current brand.
Oh, I doubt it.
I hope not.
Because I don't think anybody's listening. Maybe me and you.
You never know. That man has a lot of influence, bro.
Yeah, but maybe me and you are listening to it. But the thing is, I don't think he's going to hurt his brand in the sense that.
I hope not.
I think I don't want to say someone's going to tell him like this isn't him, but I think if he looks at it and really sees, first of all, that it's not going to sell, and then secondly, like if he takes the time to just really listen to what other people are talking about versus what this was, he'll recognize this wasn't a good play.
Because you know what I'm saying, when you're feeling yourself and you're your own star and he's constantly evolving, Cube has always been a calculated figure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So he has some type of agenda with this.
Like I said,
we haven't had a chance to speak to him.
It just came off to me as like, I still think I'm relevant. I still think I have something to say, and that's fine. But it's just like you said, are you really saying something of value?
That's my point.
And, right, and that's the key.
That's my point. But like I say, he has the freedom to do what he wants.
But
I was just a little bit thrown off by that song. I'm like, in the lyrics, y'all go listen to it. It's Ice Cube's new song called The New Funk, right?
New Funkadelic.
New Funkadelic, and check it out. You'll kind of see what I'm talking about. But that will conclude our show for this week. I would like to thank you all for listening. Once again, you can find me, Showbe.T, on Facebook at Showbe.T, Twitter, C.T, Instagram is C.T3130.
And you can find me on Facebook at Ali, Instagram Ali for Life, and Twitter Ali211996.
Next week, y'all.
Peace.